I attempted a Pokemon FireRed Hardcore Nuzlocke using only Pokemon whose names start with the letter C. And for an extra challenge, I did it all while on a plane. Wait, do I actually have to give him a plane? My name is PomminPs, or P for short, and we're gonna go through customs, apparently. In a Hardcore Nuzlocke, once a Pokemon faints, it's dead forever, you can't use healing items in battle, and you can only use the first eligible encounter on each route or named area. The rest of the rules are on screen now. Quick reminder that in Gen 3, there is no physical special split. Details are in the description and the type chart is on the screen. But with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. For transparency, I do use rare candies in all my runs just to speed up grinding. Good afternoon, passengers. My name is P and I'll be your pilot for this Air Kanto flight. We have multiple layovers to pick up some first class guests along the way, so make yourselves comfortable. Our first guest is a Charmander named Charlie from Professor Oak, who boards the plane at our home airport in Pallet Town. Charlie will be crucial in this run as he'll be our strongest all-around team member. With our only passenger buckled in, we take off and fly to Viridian City, home of the first big airline we needed to take down. We can't even take on the gym here though, so this was just a waste of time and fuel and energy. We do at least get our second guest, a Caterpie named Carla. Carla can't evolve in this run, and it only has access to these moves, and it has these stats. Is it unethical to throw someone off a plane? Our next destination on this Air Kanto flight adventure is Pewter City, where we can actually take down the airline and its leader, Brock. He leads Geodude and I lead Charlie. Charlie learns super effective Metal Claw at level 14, and since Geodude doesn't know a rock move, Charlie is totally safe. 3 Metal Claws KO, leaving Charlie at full HP as Brock sends out his last Pokemon, Onix. It leads with a Bind, doing some passive damage as a Metal Claw does around a fourth, but it does get an attack boost. A Tackle from Onix does light damage as another Metal Claw from Charlie brings it into the yellow. One more Metal Claw KOs Onix, winning us the first battle and giving us our first gym badge. We've officially taken down British Airways. Before our next departure, Charlie evolves into a Charmeleon at level 16. We also take a guided tour of Mount Moon, a famous Cantonian landmark, and pick up our third guest, a Clefairy named Cindy. Since we bought a souvenir Moonstone from the gift shop, Sydney can evolve into Clefable right away, who will be our team member with the most coverage. After our sightseeing, we board a flight to Cerulean City, home of Jet Blue and its leader, Misty. Misty leads with Staryu and I lead with Cindy. Staryu outspeeds and uses Harden, which I predicted, so I use Encore to lock it in. With the newly learned secret power via TM, 2 turns is all it takes for Sydney to take down Staryu. Last up is Starmie, who's really solid for this point in the game. A Water Pulse does about a quarter as a secret power does just less than half, but it gets the paralysis. To make my life even quicker, Sydney gets a critical hit secret power on the next turn, finishing off Starmie. That wins us our second gym battle, the Cascade badge, and another airline added to our kill count. The local landmark we check out before leaving is Bill's house, or the man who turned himself into a Clefairy. Well, that wasn't worth the $10 admission. He does give us a coupon for the SS Anne Museum in Vermilion City, so we head over there because who doesn't like a bang for their buck? Wait, so you guys like a bang for your buck? Then you should check out this video's sponsor. I had you there, didn't I? Don't lie, you fully thought I was going to endorse something. But seriously, I'm broke, so if anyone does want to sponsor, we jump the museum curator for info on the next airline, which he tells us is Lieutenant Southwest, whose leader we can take on, Lieutenant Surge. Surge leads with Voltorb and I lead with Charlie with the Dig TM. Voltorb connects with a Screech, but since all electric moves are special in Gen 3, it doesn't really matter. One Dig from Charlie KOs, bringing out Pikachu second. Since this thing is level 18, it also goes down to 1 Dig, but Static does activate on contact. Stupid mouse. Last is Raichu. A Shockwave does about a third and Charlie stays fully paralyzed. Yay. Thankfully, Raichu uses Double Team on the next turn as Charlie uses a Dig that connects for 3/4. Surge heals on the next turn, but Charlie sets up another Dig to cancel out the Super Potion. I decide to use an Ember to not risk a full para on the next turn, which KOs Raichu, winning us our 3rd gym battle. That gets us the Thunder Badge, and we've officially toppled Southwest Airlines. We have a pretty quick turnaround before taking on the next airline, and with no new passengers, we take off for Celadon City, home of the 4th airline, Spirit. Those cheap flights won't save you this time. Erica leads with Victory Bell, and I lead with Charlie. Side note, I also haven't grinded at the game corner yet, so I don't have access to Flamethrower. An Ember does just about half, as a Stun Spore connects to paralyze Charlie. Now that Victory Bell outspeeds, an Acid does about a third and gets the 10% defense drop, because of course it does. One more Ember finishes off Victory Bell, and second up is Tangela. I love Tangela's design so much. Look at her little shoes. It sets up an Ingrain as a single Ember KOs, bringing out her last Pokemon, Vileplume. I used 2 of her Pokemon in my Pokemon X V only run, so you can check that out if you haven't already. An Acid brings Charlie into the yellow, as an Ember does less than half. We stay in and risk the crit, as another Acid brings Charlie to 7 HP, and of course gets another defense drop. Erica heals now, so I take the opportunity for a free swap into Cindy. I encore it into Acid, and since Cindy is pretty bulky, Acid does fairly little damage. A secret power on the following turn does about a third, as we take another light Acid. We do this 2 more times as we knock out Vileplume with plenty of HP remaining, winning us our 4th gym battle and taking down Spirit Airlines in the process. There's a lot to do on our Kanto flight adventure before we take down our next airline. We swing into my grandma's condo for a visit, and she tells us that we can bribe the TSA with some tea, so we give it a shot. God, I love corruption. Before we can leave Celadon, we need to take down a pro-airline politician for the Sylph Scope. Who's pro-airline? What a weirdo. We take a detour in our flight path and land in Lavender Town to check out the famous Pokemon Tower, and to pick up our next passenger, a Cubone named Cass. Cass won't be able to evolve on this trip, but that's okay. We meet the fishing guru's brother. Why is this an attraction? And we get the Super Rod from the gift shop, which we can use to grab another passenger. Before we use that though, we do land in Fuchsia City, where we can go to a revolutionary kind of zoo that lets you keep the animals you meet. We grab this Chansey named Chanel, give her a plane ticket, and she joins the team. We take one last detour to Palatown, where we can grab our last passenger, who missed the initial departure after sleeping in. A Shelder named Chris climbs aboard the Air Kanto flight and promptly evolves into a Cloyster, making her a viable team member. In preparation for our next airline takeover, Charlie evolves into his final form, a Charizard. We can take down both of these airlines in any order, so we fly to Fuchsia City to take down Flare Airlines and their leader, Koga. Koga leads with Coughing, and I lead with Cindy. Psychic easily KOs, bringing out Muck second. Another Psychic does over half, as Muck tries to cheese us with some minimize strats. Thankfully though, it doesn't work, as one more Psychic connects for the KO. Third up is Coughing number 2. It meets the same fate as the first, being knocked out by a single Psychic. Last is Wheezing. Fun fact, did you know Wheezing's name in the beta was NY and LA to represent New York and LA for their pollution? How does that feel, Americans? Anyways, we KO Wheezing no problem, winning us our 5th gym badge and taking down Flare Airlines, putting an end to all of their cancellations. We head straight into our battle against American Airlines and their leader, Sabrina. She leads Kadabra, and I lead Chris for her debut. We set up 3 layers of spikes for the Alakazam in the back, as Kadabra sets up 1 Calm Mind, a Future Sight, and then fails to use Future Sight again. I swap into Chanel for the Future Sight damage, as Kadabra sets up another Calm Mind. Future Sight fails, and I have no idea why. If someone can explain that move, let me know in the comments. It sets up another Calm Mind as Chanel misses a Toxic. Kadabra sets up a Reflect as we miss another Toxic. Finally, on the 3rd try, we connect with a Toxic as Kadabra's Synchronize ability activates, poisoning Chanel in return. I'll fast forward, but we stall our way through Kadabra with Soft Boiled and Egg Bombs, ending with about half HP left. Second up is Mr. Mime. It sets up a Calm Mind as a Soft Boiled brings us back to full. We connect with another Toxic on the next turn as our stall strat continues. After a missed Egg Bomb and another Calm Mind, Mr. Mime baton passes into Venomoth, who takes damage from spikes and dodges an Egg Bomb. Since this thing isn't a Psychic type, I swap into Cindy, who dodges a Supersonic coming in. A super effective Psychic does half of its remaining HP, as a Supersonic actually lands, confusing Cindy. I swap into Charlie to shake off the confusion, as a Psybeam does about a quarter. A Flamethrower finishes off Venomoth, bringing back out Mr. Mime. It takes big damage from spikes coming in, so Charlie uses a Flamethrower to knock it out, leaving Sabrina with only one Pokemon, Alakazam. We stay in and use a Scary Face to lower its speed, as Alakazam sets up a Calm Mind. I swap into Cindy, who takes huge damage from Psychic. Oops. I go into Chanel, as Alakazam sets up a Future Sight. We heal with a Soft Boiled, as a Psychic does about a third. Chanel actually hits the first Toxic, poisoning us both and beginning the stall. Now that we outspeed, we can fairly safely recover Psychic damage barring any back-to-back crits. I'll fast forward through this, but eventually we take Alakazam down with our Toxic stall. That wins us our 6th gym battle of the run and takes down American Airlines. We're speedrunning these airlines, so we land on Cinnabar Island to take down Hawaiian Airlines and their leader, Blaine. He leads with Growlithe and I lead with Chris. We set up a layer of spikes as Fire Blast misses. Right now, I'm assuming that Fire Blast won't do a lot because it's only neutral damage, which is wrong, but I'll find that out sooner or later. A Surf KOs, bringing in Ponyta's second. One Surf takes down the underleveled Fire Pony, bringing out Rapidash third. It outspeeds and misses a Fire Blast, so one Surf KOs Blaine's third Pokemon in a row. Last up is Arcanine. A Fire Blast connects and what the fuck? 45 special defense? Are you serious? A Surf barely misses the KO, so now we need a new plan. I stay in on the healing turn and bring Arcanine back to the yellow and swap to Charlie as Blaine heals again. I use Fly to try to stall out all of the Fire Blast PP, but it misses on the second turn, as a takedown does about a quarter. I swap to Chanel, who dodges a Fire Blast on the swap. A takedown does huge damage, but recoil and toxic damage brings Arcanine to about half. I swap back into Charlie, but Blaine uses a full heal. A Slash will be a 2-hit KO from here, as a Fire Blast does about half of our remaining HP. One more Slash finishes it off. You've got to be kidding me, that's got to be 1 HP. But we survive deathless as Charlie finishes off Arcanine, winning us our 7th gym battle and taking down Hawaiian Airlines. We step out of the gym and Bill invites us on an adventure to one island. Now, keep in mind that I'm on a plane right now, so I'm button mashing my way through all the dialogue and I forget that you can't just leave one island without doing the quest. So I wasted 20 minutes of my life finding this kid in the berry forest before I could do anything else. I just want to tell all of you that this is the worst experience of my life and I never want to do this. We head back to Viridian City to take on the first airline that we saw, Delta Airlines, and their leader, what, is that the politician from earlier? I knew there was something shady about that guy. Giovanni leads with Rhyhorn and I lead with Chris. The 4x weakness to water lets Surf 1-hit KO, bringing out his second Pokemon, Rhyhorn again. Well, let's run that back. The 4x weakness to water lets Surf 1-hit KO, bringing out his third Pokemon, Nidoqueen. Now, I'm expecting a double kick into Chris, so I pivot through Charlie, but it just went for Earthquake. I use a Scary Face to scout the move out, and it's going to be Body Slam. I swap Sydney in safely on the next one. A super effective Psychic leaves Nidoqueen in the red as a critical hit Earthquake brings Sydney to just 58 HP. Giovanni wastes some time healing, but a few more Psychics KO, bringing out Nidoking fourth. I pivot through Charlie again to dodge an Earthquake and bait a Thrash. This lets me safely bring in Chris. A Surf KOs the King on the next turn, bringing in Dugtrio last. An Earthquake does fairly light damage as one more Surf KOs the fourth Pokemon of this battle, winning us our last gym badge of the run and taking down the beast that is Delta Airlines. Now that we've taken down 8 airlines, there's only one to go. The one that rules them all, United Airlines. Before we can go to that, we need to take down their 4 henchmen, better known as the Elite Four. We show proof of our dominance to the guards and fly to the Indigo Plateau, where we can take on our biggest challenge yet. Our first battle is against Lorelei and her ice types. She leads with Dugong and I lead with Cindy. A Thunderbolt does over half to the part water type, as Cindy takes a light ice beam. One more Thunderbolt KOs, bringing in Cloyster second. I'm gonna fast forward through this because this thing just spams Protect and gets 2 off back to back, but it goes down to 1 Thunderbolt. Third up is Slowbro. A critical hit Thunderbolt is actually not ideal, since now Lorelei will have some full restores for Lapras, who comes in next. I thought Lapras was faster than 60 base speed, so I tried to Encore, which fails, as we get confused by a Confuse Ray. I swap into Chanel on a soft Ice Beam. A Body Slam does solid damage, but a Toxic connects onto Lapras. I swap into Charlie on the Body Slam to bait an Ice Beam or a Surf. Then I swap back into Cindy, who's fairly specially bulky. I use an Encore to lock Lapras in as another Surf brings us to the yellow. A final Thunderbolt KOs this monster and Lorelei sends out her last Pokemon, Jinx. I swap into my last team member with full HP, Chris, who walls Jinx pretty well. I'll fast forward through the rest since we just trade Surfs and Ice Punches until Jinx goes down, and Chris has Shell Armor, so there's no chance for a crit. That takes care of Lorelei and gives us our first Elite Four victory. Bruno is up second with his fighting types. I lead with Chris and he leads with Onyx. A 4 times weakness to water benefits us yet again as a single Surf KOs. Second up is Hitmonchan. Since Chris is weak to fighting, I swap into Charlie, who resists a Sky Uppercut that actually crit. We outspeed and a single fly connects to KO the first Hitmon. Third up is Machamp, who knows 4 times super effective Rock Slide. I stay in and use a fly for 3/4 as the AI goes for speed control with Scary Face, which it tends to do in Gen 3. I swap into Cindy as Machamp uses a Bulk Up, but it's kinda worthless. From there, a Psychic KOs Bruno's Ace, bringing in the second Hitmon, Hitmonlee. I swap into Charlie on a resisted Brick Break for little damage. A single fly KOs the second Hitmon of the battle and brings in Bruno's last Pokemon, a second Onyx. I get a little greedy since this guy doesn't actually have a rock move to threaten us with, and use another fly for some chip damage. We do take a double edge for some okay damage though. I thought an Earthquake would kill from this range, but it leaves Onyx in the red as another double edge brings Charlie to 36 HP. Bruno goes for a full restore, so I take the opportunity to swap into Chris for free. Chris repeats the first turn of the battle using a Surf to cleanly knock out Onyx. That's Bruno defeated and we're halfway to taking down United. Third up is Agatha and her old college, her ghost types. She leads with Gengar and I lead with Cindy. A Confuse Ray connects as we hit ourselves in confusion, but it's not really a big deal since this Gengar can't really touch Cindy. We break through on the next turn with a Psychic, bringing Gengar into the red as it uses a double team. I take the opportunity to swap to Charlie to shake off the confusion and bring Cindy back in on the next turn. I Encore it into double team so confusion will stop pissing me off as 2 more Psychics finish the job, and that brings in Golbat second. Cindy takes an Air Cutter for light damage and KOs with a single Thunderbolt. Third up is Arbok. A Psychic barely misses the KO as a Sludge Bomb brings Cindy to the yellow. One more Psychic knocks out the Ghost type, and Agatha's second Gengar comes in fourth. A Hypnosis misses and a Psychic does about 3/4. It misses another Hypnosis on the next turn, which feels amazing because it's not happening to me, and another Psychic KOs, bringing in Haunter last. Haunter can't really do anything to Cindy, so 2 Shadow Balls KO Agatha's last Pokemon, and that wins us our third Elite Four battle. Our last fight until we take on the CEO of United is Lance and his Dragon types. He leads with a Dragon type Gyarados, and I lead Cindy. A 4 times super effective Thunderbolt is enough to take it down, bringing out the Dragon type Aerodactyl second. This thing is pretty frail, so after taking a wing attack for about 1/4, a Thunderbolt KOs, bringing out the first dragon type of the battle, Dragonite. A Thunderbolt does okay damage as Dragonite goes for Safeguard, essentially winning us the battle right there. Cindy uses Encore, locking it into a status move on the next turn so I can safely bring in Chris on another Safeguard. An Ice Beam KOs Lance's Ace on the next turn, bringing out Dragonair 4th. A single Ice Beam KOs the first and second Dragonair, winning us a fairly easy 4th Elite Four battle, leaving us with only one challenge left, the CEO of United himself. Wait, no, this can't be. My childhood friend Blue, you're the CEO of United? No, this can't be happening. Were you lying all this time? When we were talking about starting our own airline and being good people who provide good service, was that a lie? You went to United. That's literally the exact opposite of that. United sucks. I'll have to knock some sense into you, my friend. Blue leads with Pidgeot and I lead with Chris. An Aerial Ace does small damage as an Ice Beam does about 3/4. Blue wastes some time healing, but 2 more Ice Beams KO, bringing out Rhydon second. Interesting choice to bring in your Rock Ground type into my Water type, but I'll take the free KO with Surf. Third up is Exeggutor. An Ice Beam just misses the KO as the Giga Drain KOs Chris, resulting in our first death of the run. Rest well, Chris. I send out Charlie. A Flamethrower KOs and now it's a 3v4. Next up is Blastoise. I swap into Chanel, who dodges a Hydro Pump coming in. Another one misses on the next turn as a Toxic connects onto Blastoise. It sets up the rain as we set up a light screen to reduce damage from all its special attacks. Hydro Pump crits on the next turn, bringing Chanel into the yellow as a Double Edge does really little damage. I swap into Cindy as Blastoise sets up a 2-turn Skull Bash. It does about a third on the next turn as a Thunderbolt finishes off Blue starter, bringing out Alakazam 5th. It sets up a Reflect, which halves the damage of my Shadow Ball. It sets up a Future Sight as Sydney uses a Psychic to avoid the healing range. Alakazam uses a Psychic, which gets a crit and knocks out Sydney. Well, this isn't looking very good. I bring in Charlie. A Psychic does big damage, so an Earthquake should... A Future Sight connects, bringing Charlie to 41 HP. I'm in full panic mode now, so I swap into Chanel for free on a full restore. We heal almost a full with a Soft Boiled as Alakazam sets up another Reflect. A Psychic does okay damage as Chanel sets up a Light Screen for extra protection. Psychic does light damage as a Toxic thankfully connects, poisoning both Pokemon. I use Soft Boiled for a couple turns to get some poison damage and then swap into Cass, making her debut. She takes less than half from a Psychic coming in. Alakazam sets up a Reflect, so I take that chance to use a Leer to lower its defense. A Future Sight setup on the next turn means we can finally get some damage, but Bonemerang misses. Great. Blue uses a full restore on the next turn, and Bonemerang connects, doing just less than half. What happens next is really weird. Blue refuses to attack Cass, trying to set up infinite Future Sights, letting Cass knock out Alakazam with just 3 HP left after taking a Future Sight. Last up is Arcanine, but it has extreme speed. I send out Chanel. She gets a Toxic off before going down to 2 extreme speeds, making this battle a 1v1. I bring out Charlie with 41 HP. I don't think he can survive this, but it's the only shot we've got. Charlie survives on just 3 HP and fires off a super effective Earthquake, bringing Arcanine to the red. Arcanine goes down and we've officially taken down United Airlines, and we've completed this run of Pokemon FireRed using only Pokemon whose names start with the letter C. That was an intense final battle. I'm not joking when I said I almost stood up on the plane because I was so excited. But everyone, thank you so much for watching this run. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't the most comfortable fun being squished in a United economy seat the whole time, but yeah. That's why they were the final boss. I was salty, okay? Sue me. Sorry this video is late also. I caught a case of the airport cold, so my throat has been a little scratchy for a few days. Also, thank you for 400 subscribers. Y'all keep doubling every video. I can't even keep up. Like, for real, thank you so much. I also blew up on TikTok randomly, which is crazy. I doubled my followers over there. We're up to like 2,000, and one video has like 160,000 views at the time I'm writing this. That's literally insane, so thank you guys so much. If you came from TikTok, leave a comment down below so I can thank you for joining the YouTube gang. I'm trying to get a video out every week, but as you'd expect, full-time school is full-time, so I'm doing my best. The next run has been in the works for like 2 weeks. I've been planning IV spreads and all the battles. It's going to be a good one, I promise, so get ready for that one. My only hint is that it'll be in the Sinnoh region. But with that being said, guys, I've been PomminPs, or P for short, and I'll see you next time.